Good evening, everybody. It's 6:30 and we're going to go ahead and get started. So if you will go ahead and join me for the flag salute. We have somebody very special that's going to do this for us tonight.
Good evening. I've got a brother-sister duet from Sue's Pillar here to meet you guys. Want to tell me your names?
Hi, I'm Rhett.
Hi, I'm Reese,
I'm in fourth grade.
and I'm in third grade.
What's something you like about school?
Math, reading, and lunch.
About school is reading and already reading and math.
Very nice.
All right, you guys want to lead us in the pledge? Flags over here.
Please have to take off your hats. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very nice. Thank you. That was pretty awesome. I know, very nice. We are going to, I'm going to ask you to join me in a moment of silence. If you would, please, for the tragedy that has hit our little community over the weekend. Thank you. Ms. Tammy, please note that all five board members are here tonight. Okay, 2.0, agenda additions, deletions, revisions, and agenda approval.
Chair, I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Okay. We have a second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Do we have further discussion? Okay, let's go ahead and vote. We're gonna start with Kelsey. Yes. Scott,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
and yes as well. Recognition. We're gonna move on over to Dr. Hunt on this one.
Yeah, and we have an upgrade. The names of our recipients will be up on the screen just in case you have questions. So we always start off with a student recognition, and then when I was thinking this month of who would be a good student to highlight, the student's face came to mind, and the smile, and he always shakes my hand. So I'm gonna invite Mr. Rob Bonner and Mr. Huntley Hicks up to the front to talk a little about it. Let's give them a round of applause.
So I'm so excited to do this part, and you're about to see why. But Huntley, it started last year, fall of last year, first day of school, and I had parking lot duty, and here comes this young man, and I'd seen him around town, of course, but I didn't know him all that well, and he starts volunteering with me every single day, all year long. Every baseball game, big fan of baseball. So Huntley's always there, and really started getting to know him and his heart. And he's an ROTC, and I went to the ROTC gentleman. And I asked them to write a little paragraph. Huntley Hicks is the epitome of team and school spirit. He consistently shows up with a positive attitude, ready to help wherever needed. Whether in NJROTC or around campus, Huntley demonstrates honor, courage, and commitment in everything he does. He weekly volunteers for community service events, supports his peers, and steps up without hesitation when the team needs him. His enthusiasm inspires others, and his dedication strengthens the entire unit. Huntley's willingness to serve, lead, and uplift those around him makes him an outstanding example of what true teamwork and school pride look like. Commander Scott Svoboda, Senior Chief Daniel Brandow. This did such a good job. I went and I highlighted the words that struck me when thinking about Huntley, but positive, volunteering, supporting his peers, stepping up and uplifting. You know, that nails everything that I see in him daily. He's still with me at lunchtime, although he leaves me for Mr. Jake Huffman sometimes because Jake's outside and I'm indoors and that's not as fun. So Huntley goes out there. But like today, we're talking at lunch and he was talking about the young man and saying, he wanted to go to that candlelight vigil and it was all about helping his peers and being with his classmates. So there's not many as special as this young man, and I'm very proud of him. I'm proud he's a cowboy and he does so much for us. So thank you very much. Thank you. Do you guys have any questions for Huntley? It's amazing.
Huntley, now we have to get our picture.
Yeah, that's their part.
It's gotta be with Mr. Vaughn. I get to be in, I love it. All right. You're
Huntley, is this your family?
Yes,
You want to introduce them to us?
my mom Kelsey, Aunt Lonnie, in the back, and Grandpa Richo. Got my dad Jimmy, stepmom Bethany, and baby boy Oakley.
Oh.
Thank you. All right, congratulations. Thanks, Huntley.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it, sir.
I appreciate you. That's you.
No, you can take a little break.
Take a break. Thank you guys very much.
Yeah. Well, we do, I'm gonna invite, Mr. Leland Bliss and Denny Baldry to the front. Denny, I think this is a surprise. We had to trick him to come.
It's been so hard to keep it a secret too. All right. So Denny, I can't tell you how much I appreciate Denny. Denny runs the most awesome food service program ever. In my 10 years here, it's the best that it's ever been. So recently, when the federal government shut down and we saw the need that some students might need a little bit of extra food or something like that. I mean, with like 2 days notice, Denny managed to find a way to actually add some extra food within our snack program to make sure that kids that needed some extra food got extra food.
And one more, Denny is retiring at the end of this year, so, and Leo and I actually had to convince him.
Appreciate
So we had to, when, Leo and I had to convince Denny to stay this year, and he graciously did so. And my favorite Denny story is, when we said, hey, Denny, we gotta get more food out, he said, I got 70 pounds of turkey, we'll do that. Looks like it's gonna be turkey sandwiches, and his team pulled that together, like Leon said, in 2 days, helped so many students, so let's give it up for Denny.
There you go.
Thank you.
And then our last recognition is our community member, and we are so reliant on having amazing and awesome community partners that help our students, provide our students awesome experiences, and that's why we invited Par Lumber. So I'm gonna invite Ryan Cochran, and we have both Blaine and Andy from Par Lumber to come on. Give it up.
First of all, thank you guys so much for just giving us a little bit of time to talk about and just recognize somebody that's really important to us. And one, we're so thankful for Kirk County and all of the things that happen here and how people are so supportive of students in our school. And for us, obviously I have a passion for CTE, career and technical education. And about 4.5 years ago, we started up a construction program, and we saw a need not only in our community, but in our students, of giving them some skills that once they leave high school, they can get a great job and be on their way to a great life that hopefully, obviously stay around Kirk County, but if they go off somewhere else, we want them to have a great life there with the skills that they have. And as we built this program, there's one person that's missing up here that we need to acknowledge, and that is Ron Berg, our teacher for that. And he's unfortunate, he would absolutely love to be here, but he's out of town today. And so you guys gonna have to deal with me for a few minutes. But Par Lumber has, ever since our very beginning of this program, has come in right beside us and wanted to be a supportive feature into us. And for us, it goes way beyond just getting materials, and Par has really stepped up. One of the things that they continually do is give us a chance to get materials at a cost where we can do big projects. And we started this program with a little idea of being in a side of a shop, gaining some skills. And as those kids gain skills, we wanted to push them to that next level and go out and do community projects and those types of things. Well, as you guys know, cost of supplies have went through the absolute roof. And it really was a barrier for us. And that's where PAR has come in beside us and gotten obviously discounts. They've donated things that they get extra. They donated to our program so our kids can use those in projects. But along with that, they also have tools that they have there and they give us discounts on. They give us tools for our students to use that we wouldn't be able to provide for them. And so that's been a huge thing. Just last year, we took our first group to a framing skills competition in Central Oregon, and PAR said, hey, this is a great opportunity for us to come right in beside. Some of our students didn't have all the tools that they need. PAR donated those tools. They also wanted our team to look like a team, and so they donated sweatshirts. So we got there, our group looked great. They had, Kirk County Construction on it. They had PAR Lumber on the back. There was no other team there that looked like that, and that was because of PAR. But one of the coolest things that PAR does is Mr. Berg had this vision of celebrating our students that succeed in our construction. And some of those students that succeed in our construction, they don't succeed sometimes in English or math, but they're doing amazing jobs in our construction class. And so Mr. Berg started up this, if you go into our shop, it's called the Wall of Fame. It's given to a senior, both male and female construction student of the year. And PAR has so graciously sponsored that every year of that. And that there's giant plaques, and every year there's some new students that get onto that. At the end of the year, we have a big luncheon there, and PAR comes in, hands out the awards, but also sponsors them. They get gift cards and tools and things that they can go down and pick the tools that they want. And PAR has done an amazing job, and we could not do what we do in our construction classes without them. So Blaine and Andy are here kind of representing PAR, but most of all, we just want to recognize them and all the things that they give to our students. It really does allow us to operate and give our kids the best education that we can.
Awesome.
Great. Any questions?
Oh, thank you much, appreciate it. Question for you. So this is great. Thank you so much for what you do. It's obviously amazing. Is this a PAR wide thing or is this a Prineville PAR thing?
So there's the Viking houses in Newburgh, in Forest Grove, and Salem Kaiser. They also have a CT program that successful. Viking House has been around for a little bit longer. But there's a couple of different locations that we participate with, but we'd love to participate more, but not every school district is as supportive. And so that also stands out. I mean, look at the Ron's Award that he got this year, right? Staff, that was with the support from you guys. So it is a company, right? We want to be involved in our communities, but construction is one way to help invest in our future for the trade. So yeah.
Well, we appreciate it, and we've certainly seen that you invest in other things like, working on parks projects and that sort of thing. So you're a great community partner. Thank you for being a part of it.
We appreciate making a difference.
We gotta take a picture and we gotta give them a round of applause.
Thank you.
Yeah, guys, thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Now, Dr. Hoff, did I not read in the board reports that we now have a journalism class?
We have a sports journalism broadcasting club.
Then why is Bree still taking pictures?
It's a fair question, if you're throwing a football around as we handed out the awards, they might come and do a play-by-play. That's all for recognition.
Thank you, sir. 3.2, fall sports recap. Mr. Bonner's back with us.
Thank you. So that time of year again, this is the first year that we're back with the IMC, and it's been great in a lot of ways. It's been challenging as far as competitively, and I'm just so proud of how the community has stepped up and the kids have went out there and competed. We'll start with our academic all-state. We had one team in the top 10, that was football. Football finished the year with a 3.21 accumulative, and they finished 10th in the state at the 5A level. So very proud of that. And the other schools are right on their heels with a 3.55, 3.26, 3.47. So very good team scores, just a little out of that top 10. Moving into football for all league, we went 3-6 overall. Different as far as win losses than last year, but we won our homecoming game and we won the senior night. So as far as community and kids enjoying, and those were great nights. So the homecoming was an amazing week, capped off with that game. So a lot of great memories there, great attendance. It was a lot of fun. We had 5 second team honorees and 4 honorable mentions from the IMC football. Moving into volleyball, we missed the state tournament, but had 2 first team honorees. Girls soccer, we had 1 second team and 2 honorable mentions. In boys soccer, we had 1 first team, 1 second team, and 2 honorable mentions. So, very competitive, and they represented us very well. Boys cross country was the only fall team to advance to the state state competition. They finished 4th in the IMC, but their times and everything were so good they got the 1 at-large bid, and so they ran at the state tournament. Did a great job. Boys state team was Adam Crass, Hunter Davis, Wyatt Otness, Ethan Peschel, Jaron Swick, Josiah Swick, and Cannon Whiting. So they represented us very well. And girls cross country did as well. They did not qualify for the state tournament, but it did awesome. Along with that, the people that support NJROTC, band, cheer squads, they all competed and supported us with a lot of class. And we appreciate their continued support. Finally, once again, our own Ernie Brooks, he was the 24-25 OACA boys track coach of the year. So that happened again. He got the national coach of the year honors last year, and then started off, he's in the running again. So we'll see how that goes. But he received the OACA coach of the year for boys track. So yeah, rolling right along. And now into winter, we just started our competitive season. We started with our big kickoff tournament for boys and girls basketball. Amazing games all around. Eric alluded to the fact that we do have a group that is Jake Ulrich is here, and he started the group of kids that do the play-by-play with the huddle camera that's in the gym. It's this whole thing, and it's great. And I saw some footage of it today. Some clips and different things. There's a lot of pride associated with that. You're going to hear a lot more about that coming up, and I think there's probably going to be some stories come out of that. And really excited about where that's going to go. It's Jake's goal to get kids to move on in that profession in sports broadcast. He started it when he was at Summit, and he has a couple people that are well down the road in sports broadcast doing a great job. So just more opportunities, and to see them up there in the stands with the mics and the support crew, Mr. Hand, all you guys were there. It was something.
Yeah.
We'll have a lot of opportunities.
We have a plan. So
Yeah.
stay tuned.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep you guys on the edge of your seats.
It's pretty special. Just another reason that, of what we're doing for kids and opportunities and the support from the community. It's a special place. So
Free kid photograph.
free camp.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's my fall recap. Any questions for me?
Have the final classifications come out?
The final proposal has come out. We go on the 15th of December for the executive meeting is where they're going to, listen to the final round and push it forward, whatever that may be. So we'll go there one more time and see what we can do. Yeah.
If they're listening to the final proposal, why would there be any different outcome than the final proposal?
So they have the final proposal. They're going to go and deliberate on it. So they'll meet with and hear one more round of
Pushback.
please. Yeah. They'll listen to one more round of, we support this or we do not support this. Then they'll deliberate. And then they'll come out and give their decision. And we'll be there for it.
The
Yeah. Any other questions? No. Thank you again very much for your support.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, 4.0, the approval of the consent agenda.
I'm sure I moved to approve the consent agenda.
We have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Do we have any further discussion? Okay, let's vote. Eric,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Kelsey?
Yes.
And yes as well. Thank you. 5.0 finance report, moving on to Ms. Logan.
5.1 finance report, really there isn't a lot to update you on from last month. The only substantial change is that there was a rebalance of the state school fund. So basically ODE recalculates based on all of the districts' newly estimated ADM and property tax information. So that had an impact to us, but that can change throughout the year. So that's the only thing on the actual finance report that I wanted to update you on, but I do have a business process update also that I want to make sure that you're aware of. And that is we are planning to move from paper timesheets for payroll to an electronic timesheet system. I've been working on this since 2013, but the timing hasn't really been right because we've either had turnover in payroll or turnover in technology. And so we're finally in a place where we feel like it's a good time to move forward. This will really only affect our hourly employees, but it'll change it from writing down their hours on a piece of paper like we did back in the 20th century to actually clocking in and out and having evidence of people's work and a time not worked. So, and then that will actually flow through to our payroll system rather than having to hand in our timesheets. We're doing phased go live, so we'll put employees into groups that we haven't fully developed yet, but the first group will go live and start clocking in on February 9th. And then we'll continue to implement additional groups as we troubleshoot, make tweaks to the system, et cetera. I just want to make sure that you know that's happening, just so that you're not surprised if, because it really affects a lot of employees and they may have an opinion about that. So when I've sat down with individual employees and showed them the system, I've actually gotten a lot of support. So I think people can really see the benefit.
And how do they log in? Just so
They'll have options to log in.
okay.
Hey, were there any questions on the finance report? Like move to 5.2, please. Okay. So just a state budget update, just because last month we were talking to you about the state's budget crisis. Basically, the crisis has since gotten smaller. So basically, there was a new revenue forecast, and so what we've seen is that the projected revenue deficit or budget deficit decreased from $370 million down to $60 million. So it's still a deficit, but it's not as dire, it's not as scary. It's not a complete relief to us, but it's definitely good news. Oregon does revenue forecast every four times a year, and the next one is coming up in March. We will already be deep into budget planning by then. So depending on what we're hearing and what the legislature does, we may just have to adopt a budget that is one scenario and then have plans for other scenarios as they, as the legislature needs. And that wouldn't be out of the ordinary for us to have multiple plans, but just have a budget that's adopted so that we can meet all of our budget deadlines. Questions, comments?
We'd just be cautious about saying that the deficit is better. I mean, it did get better, but it's not quite as good as it looks like. What I'm hearing is that because of concern about making sure that they don't have another surprise that leaves them short at the end of the biennium, they're gonna over withhold. So it's a little more than the 68 million. And that also the co-chairs are wanting to hold back even more because they think that The 27-29 biennium and the 29-31 are gonna be even worse. So we are maybe gonna still feel some pinch. Even though we got a little bit of good news out of that revenue. But it's gonna be a challenge to balance budgets the next 5 years.
It is, and you're absolutely right. We already were kind of going into the next budget year thinking we felt the pinch for this year. We already know the costs go up for next year, even if it's just electricity and inflation and things like that. So this does add a further pinch, but it's definitely not as dire as they originally told us, so.
There was a definite discussion at the OSBA conference, I think you heard it, the same thing at the Oregon Legal Conference, about other schools that are in far worse shape than Crook County. Where, I mean, even in Central Oregon, they're talking about having to shut down, starting to talk about needing to shut down schools as things worsen, in part because they have falling enrollment. Crook County does not have that problem, which is somewhat saving our bacon right now. But I think our bacon's good to go a little bit, just maybe a little skinny bacon.
I want to highlight one thing you said. We're seeing regional districts, our neighbors, enrollment down. Portland Public Command, I think, was saying they're gonna cut 50 million, Salem said 25 million. The enrollment piece is huge though, and that's, I think, a celebration in our district. Year over year, we're actually up 4 students. I don't know if you saw that in your packet, and that speaks to having a quality system and staff that people trust sending their kids to our schools. So, and that's not the case across the state. So we are an outlier in our enrollment.
Where are all the kids going?
A lot of homeschool, a lot of private schools are seeing increases in enrollment, a lot of online.
And a decreasing birth rate.
Yep, that is all. So not in Redmond though. Redmond has seen a boost in their. So yeah, it's a science. So that's something we're watching really closely, and we're very blessed to have Anna leading our finances and does such an amazing job and such a wealth of expertise.
Do we have any updates on the departments? Because every time I drive by, I'm like, oh my goodness, everything's out of progress.
The last year is these planned to open in the spring, start to be occupied, so. Yeah, the ones right by, right real close to the old mill.
Close to the kid head in September.
Yeah, exactly. Madras Highway ones, we're not seeing as quick. I haven't gotten an update on that in a while, but I know it's behind where this one is, because yeah, every time I drive by, it seems like there's always gone up.
Yeah.
Our annual audit report would normally be presented to you this month or sometimes even in November. But I don't have one for you, and that is why I'm telling you this tonight. It's due to ODE normally in the January 1st, January 2nd. And if you don't get your annual audit report to ODE by that date, they withhold your January state school fund payment until you get it in. This has never happened to us before, and it's not because of anything we did. We were actually early. We actually had our audit done a week before the auditors were supposed to even start. But because of federal government shutdown and the fact that we receive federal funds, there are auditing standards that the federal government releases that the auditors have to follow. Because there were no audit standards released, the auditors couldn't finish their job. So they have everything done except for just whatever extra things they need to do that are new in the auditing standards for the federal funds. Because this is affecting all the school districts, ODE has issued an extension to February to get our audit report to them. Our auditors believe that they can meet that deadline, so sometime between now and February, I expect to bring you an audit report that will be 7 to 8 months old.
And we will still get the January payment.
We should still get the January payment, yes.
I'm glad they
And
recognize
if
that.
we didn't, our cash flow is fine. We could handle a couple of months if that were to happen, but I don't know, my emotions probably could. I don't like being late and I don't like feeling like I'm in trouble, so. We wouldn't be in trouble, but yeah, we're fine. Just wanted to give you that update so that you don't wonder.
Thank you. 5.4.
Okay, 5.4 is a grant agreement that is, for the student investment account grant. It's a pretty substantial grant. It's a very normal agreement. The board authorizes me and the superintendent to enter into grant agreements. All throughout the year, we do this. Except the SIA grant has a special requirement that the board approves the grant agreement. So out of all the grant agreements that we have, this particular one has to come to the school board. I've already reviewed it. I've actually already signed it. It just has to be approved by the board before we can submit it and before they start reimbursing us for the expenditures that we started spending in September. So, do you have any questions on this agreement?
Is any portion of this application created in I'm looking at the exhibit on our activities, the common customized performance framework. Is this all common to the whole state, or is any of this personal to us? It looks very canned.
It's very canned. And the only things that are really personal are the school district's name, the charter school's name, and then any dollar amounts that we would, be awarded to the biennium. But yes, it is very standardized.
So we're gonna give you this tranche of money. Here's your one size fits all solution for how you're gonna fix declining educational standards in Oregon. Right?
Right.
I'm not sure.
How you're gonna spend SIA money that was designed by the legislature. And so I think that the extra layers of board approval that come along with the SIA grant were because of legislative writing.
So we are gonna approve a canned grant that the legislature wrote for us.
Yes, please.
Just wanted to make sure I understood the limits of our authority and.
The legislature didn't write the grant, but they wrote the requirements of the board.
Did.
When she said please, she asked us to like move it forward.
Mr. Cooper, one aspect of the SI grant is on page 23, we do define local performance targets. So those are in there. That would be one thing that is specific to our district. So we just have to, and it is as a result of the legislator, we have to put together these various numbers based on our district desire. So that page is personalized to Brick County School District.
So we have personalized goals around graduation, which we've already achieved, cohort completion, which we've already achieved, on track, which we've already achieved. Third grade ELA proficiency, which for some reason we care about third graders and not anybody else. Regular attenders, which we know about that one. Those would be our.
Those are the top 5 metrics.
This is going to make a difference, undoubtedly.
So now they need to pay us.
This is I believe a $3.4 million grant, so we will fill out some paperwork to get that $3.4 million and serve our students well.
This is why Oregon has a problem.
So you need a motion. We need a motion.
I'll go for it. Madam Chair, I move to approve the SIA grant agreement for 2025 to 2027.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the SI grant agreement for 25 through 27 and a second. Do we have further discussion? Okay, let's vote. Kelsey?
Yes.
Scott?
Sort of. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you. Kevin?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
And yes as well. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Scott. All right, 5.5. It's not Anna, it's Leland and Lindsay. Welcome.
Thanks. So in the past, every year, we've come to the board to talk about buying school buses to upgrade our fleet. So Lindsay's gone through what we have, and she has all the specifics about what we need for the next upcoming years, and I'm gonna let her tell you what all we want to get.
Yeah, hi there. So we're looking to purchase 3 new buses. I've provided a paper explaining the 3 buses. One is Type D, 78 passenger. It's a big rear engine diesel pusher. Next one is a Type C. This one is a what I like to call our mid-size buses. It's like the full-size bus. It's like the back third chopped off. And that is for the special needs transportation, has wheelchair lift, is also coming equipped with air conditioning as well. Which is important when you're talking sped routes for any kind of medically sensitive students. And then type A student, or type A bus, sorry. And this one is school bus yellow. It's going to come with the covers so it can be converted to type 20. So we can use it for school routes, but then it can also be used for activity trips and whatnot for type 20 licensed drivers, which is really helpful when we're trying to get activity trips done. And when coaches and teachers get type 20 licensed, we have the vehicles to support more school academic trips. But because the purchase price is over $150,000, we are required to get approval from the board. So here to answer any questions and ask for your approval.
So are we eliminating some buses?
Yes, and actually, sorry, I forgot to touch on that. Buses have a certain lifespan, and so you want to keep up with the purchase plans so that you're not stuck when you're having to then buy a bunch of buses to make up for it. So we want to maintain a bus purchase plan, and there are a few buses that have already been decommissioned because they won't meet the new emission standards that will be in effect January 1st.
And could be optional, huh?
We're in the process of,
We do a sealed bid type auction.
Okay.
Yeah.
They don't generate very much money.
No. This year we'll put a minimum on them because last year it was really sad.
So we'll have 3 that are decommissioned January 1st.
actually, you know what? I apologize. I didn't have that as 5. Yeah, 5. Is all 5 though due to the emissions?
I don't know.
I don't think it was.
I might have to get back to them on that. I don't know for
Yeah.
sure.
Those 5 that are being decommissioned, which size are those?
I believe one is one of a sped bus, and then full size is the majority of them. One was gonna be a type A small bus, but we were able to figure out that if we get it reclassified as type 20, the fact that it doesn't meet the emission standards it's only applies to school buses. So we've got it reclassified, and so now that's going to the high school, Pioneer High School, for their workforce program. So they can continue to have a vehicle.
Wait, how do you reclassify? They're gonna change the vehicle.
No, you go in and you remove everything that would make it meet school bus specs. So the lights, taking the word school bus off of it, taking the stop sign off. And then I send an email to ODE saying that this vehicle is no longer a school bus, but will be classified as type 20. And
therefore the emissions thing goes away. Even though you didn't touch the engine.
yes.
It's the SIA contract.
Hi, that's interesting. Huh,
It worked to our advantage in this case.
yes, I would say so. Wow, those are. Okay. Okay.
So we're looking to approve 557K.
Yes.
Anna, how does this fit in with some of the budget planning? Because I know at some point we had looked at delaying some school buses as the budget seasoning is like. We're good on that, and
Yes. Leland and Lindsay both worked with me before they developed this plan. And this will use a good chunk. We have 2 bus reserves, and this will use a good portion of that. But it's within what's budgeted and what's available in fund. one of those funds is self-replenishing because all of the depreciation reimbursement that we receive has to go back into that fund.
Got it.
So under discussion, I would encourage all of my fellow board members to remember this moment before we vote for this. When you walk into your bargaining team, whatever it is later this year, the first thing you will be confronted with is the size of our reserves and the fact that we don't need reserves that big. Oh, yes, we do. $550,000 just to buy a couple of buses. Not to mention what modulars cost for our growing district that is going to need a whole lot more expensive modulars, plus everything else is coming along. So just remember as we do this, this is why we always fund reserves first and we protect those reserves at all costs.
Reminder. Okay,
Might also recommend that we round this up just in case there's licensure or other little things that
Like kind of these.
it's not really
Yes.
much.
for
Radios.
the radio that forgotten or something.
What do you recommend is from the
560 maybe? That feel okay with you then? I mean, they won't spend it in
What's
that.
the total?
557099.
Yeah, 5. I'd go. I'll go a little, maybe add about 5 or 6,000.
Don't ask me to do that. one.
Like, not doing it in my head either.
Do math and something.
563.
565.
Even 565.
Yeah, 565.
Up to 560.
Madam Chair, I move the board approve the purchase of 3 school buses in an amount up to $565,000.
A second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the purchase of 3 school buses up to the amount of 565,000. Do we have further discussion? Okay, Eric,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
and yes as well. Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your input on that. Okay, moving on to 6.0 superintendent update. Dr. Hawk, would you take us to the student board leadership? Panel?
Yes, and so as I was putting together these slides, I wanted to pause and remind the board of how special this is. And it was essentially exactly a year from this board meeting that we had 400 angry students outside the district office yelling that we were not listening to them. And it's so cool and it would have been nice to do it sooner that a year from now, we are creating a plan to bring student voice into the building, welcome them and hear from them regularly. So this is just an overview of a system that we're looking to put in place to increase student feedback on board agenda items and then input directly to the board. So how this would look moving forward is the Wednesday prior to every board meeting, Bree and I would go to the County High School leadership class, share what are the key agenda items on the board agenda and solicit any input from them. We put that in a summary and we would share that with the board. There's also, and it's the reason we're not able to do this every time is because students have various things each evening, but then we would present that feedback. Best case scenario is students would be able to join us at the board meeting and they'd be able to give you the feedback themselves, but we would also be able to do that if they weren't able to make it. So we also look, because I remember Mr. Bradley mentioned getting feedback from our alternative students. So we'd also kind of solicit their feedback as well. What this would look like tangibly, and this isn't in your packet, just after the recognitions, we'd have a standing agenda item of student leadership input, and that would just be 5 to 10 minutes for them to share their insight. So we don't necessarily need action on this unless you want to direct me not to do this, but we figured we'd get it started in the new year. We've already talked to the leadership students and they're really eager to take part.
What was their feedback like? What they said?
You know, Bree was the one that was there. They think we need to capitalize on this moment that we have a student leadership that wants to come and give feedback. So I don't remember anything super specific, but they're eager. We saw a student, I want to say at our last meeting, taking notes. So I think we need to capitalize and put a system in place so that way it continues on beyond us.
And are we looking at starting that in January?
That would be the plan.
So the only suggestion I would make to you, Joel, on this, and I thank you for bringing this forward, I went to a program on this at OSBA where we're in the city that we're doing something like this. Or scroll down, one of those two, and it was really good. But one of the things that they were very intentional about was not just seeking out student leadership. They were very specific about trying to get all the different representative groups, particularly students who had English as a second language, for example, or students who were in other groups, demographic groups within the school. That was really important to providing fair assessment of what the district's policy implications might be.
That's awesome.
And so I would encourage you to think more of student body rather than student leadership.
Yeah.
In this write-up we gave you.
Awesome.
Because leave no kid behind.
Exactly.
But I think this is great. Interested to see where this goes.
We'll give it a shot, and I think one thing I've learned about asking high schoolers what they think, they will usually actually tell you, and it's not always what they're gonna say. I look forward to some uncomfortable moments for us all.
Can't wait.
Thank you.
6.2 AI guidance and technology update, Mr. Runyon.
Good evening. Okay, so I'm gonna talk a little bit about kind of where we've been, where we're at, and where we're going with AI in our district and our schools. And I'll start a little bit with why this whole thing matters. Why does AI matter? 100 million users of a single product is a pretty important milestone for any tech company. It's like a benchmark for product success. It indicates market validation and future success and trend-setting potential. For context, cell phones took 16 years to hit 100 million users, and now pretty much everyone has one in their pocket. Facebook took about 4 years to hit 100 million users. ChatGPT in 2023 took 2 months, 100 million users in 2 months. And now today, there's about 800 million weekly average users of ChatGPT. It is kind of, I think of it as just a tidal wave that's just kind of just taking over everything. It's a significant indication that AI is not just a fad, it is here. And so like we need to adjust to that and understand what that means. 86%, or actually 88% of organizations report regular AI use in at least one business function. 61% of college faculty have used AI in teaching. Most of them that haven't used it are looking for further guidance and training on how to use it the right way and how to teach in kind of a new age with AI in place. And 86% of college students report using AI in their studies. So when you take all of that information in context, I feel like a sense of responsibility that like, okay, we have to figure out how to introduce this to future members of the workforce that are going to be required or asked to use it, or future college students who are going to be asked to use it, or their counterpart in college will be using it and has the opportunity to excel as a result of that. So with all of that information in place, in June, Joel asked me to spend a quarter of my time understanding how this whole thing works, investing in what it's going to look like for our district. And then in July, the board put the board goal together of equipping students and staff with skills and training to effectively and responsibly utilize AI. So that's really where the work began. And actually it started for me in like understanding what's the difference between a large language model, LLM, like ChatGPT or Gemini, where you ask any question and it's going to give you an answer based on statistically what's the most likely next word in the sentence. That's how a large language model works. It's like this reward system of the keys are on what's the next word on the table, right? As opposed to the keys are on the cat. That's not likely. And AI has learned that over time, and it's gotten better and better and better over time. But then there's agentic AI, where you can actually have an AI system that will go and do things for you. book your airfare, schedule your reservations at a restaurant. It can be your assistant. If you give it the information to do that. So there's all sorts of types of AI tools. And so understanding all of that and then understanding how does this play in a school setting is really what I spent a lot of time in June and July doing. There was initial confidence in July that we needed to roll this out and we should actually roll this out and allow students to use it in September. Because the longer that our seniors aren't using this, the worse off they'll be when they get into college and now they need to use it. And so there's this like fine balance between trying to protect students. I don't want students to have the same experience that young kids have had with social media. I think that has been really rough on young teenage brains. But I think that if we don't open up the opportunity for students, that it could not give them the leg up that other students might have that are using it. So how do we thread the needle the right way to open this up for them? In August, we pivoted because there were some really bad headlines that came out about teens that were using it and misusing it and either getting really bad guidance or having just really discussions with AI that they shouldn't be having with AI. They should be having with a parent or a counselor or something, right? And so again, it comes back to that threading the needle where, okay, we need to stop, we need to pause, we need to delay this a little bit, and we need to talk about how do we educate teachers, how do we educate students? So we delayed student access to generative AI sites when school started. They still don't have that access right now. And we shifted our priority to building a foundation for effectiveness. Like how do we train and what are best practices around AI use? In September was really about setting a vision. So the goal was students graduate AI literate and ethically grounded in the use of AI, that teachers are trained and equipped to use and manage the use of AI in classrooms, and that CCSD, we become a state leader in AI best practices. We can be a model for other districts to look at. There are some districts that have already moved, and I've had conversations with other directors that are like, it feels like out of grasp now. Like we went too fast and now we can't, it's hard to rein it back in, right? And so, you can go too early, you can go too late. Again, this whole thing for me is just trying to thread this needle on this whole thing. October was really about building consensus as a kind of a leadership team and what we're doing within the district. So we created an AI steering committee. We meet twice monthly. We'll continue that. We may shift to monthly as we get to a point where we have policy in place and other guidance documents and we deploy. We've drafted staff and student AI guidelines that have been reviewed by the AI committee and reviewed by teachers. And we also did a professional development with staff at the end of October, where we showed that, but we also looked at a couple of practical tools that they can use. One is called Notebook LM. It's a really cool product. It's within Google, which is our environment. And the way Notebook LM works is it will you can only search against the sources that you put in, right? So it's not this open model where I can go ask any question in the world about anything. If I had a Notebook LM that was just about biology, human biology, and there was sources in that related to just human biology, then I could search only against those sources. I can't search about basketball if there's no source information in there. So it's a great product for teachers to explore, where they could say, okay, I'm going to put all the resources for this unit into Notebook LM, share that with students because it's a Google product. It's all interwoven with the rest of our Google products. Now the students can search against the sources that the teachers have provided them. So it's this almost like this closed system where it's like a selective use case. Does that make sense? The other thing that we trained staff on was a prompting method. So prompting is when you ask a question of ChatGPT or Gemini. And there's actually a lot of value in prompting those AI tools the proper way. One of those is called the craft prompting method. So it's more than just saying, teach me photosynthesis. It's give it context. Like I'm a 6th grade student, or I'm a freshman science teacher, and I want to teach photosynthesis, right? You're adding context. You want to give it a role. You want to tell it what audience it needs to speak for, and like the tone that it needs to speak in, right? You don't want a PhD tone, or you don't want this for a PhD level class. You want it to be applicable to ninth graders. If you just ask a vanilla, like just a random question, teach me photosynthesis, it's going to give you kind of a vanilla generic answer. And you can do a whole lot by giving this broad context around the whole thing, and even wrapping it up with, what questions do you have for me? So I've learned a lot in this process about how to prompt AI the right way to get more of an exact kind of output that I would like to have. And I think that staff really have found that helpful. And now we're kind of moving from, okay, how could Notebook LM be effective? How can prompting be effective? Even prompting within Notebook LM, a prompt is a prompt as far as AI is concerned. So there's even prompting within Notebook LM that can be helpful. And now we're really moving to like, okay, how do I actually apply this in the classroom? How do I scaffold my teaching the right way so that AI is used in the right way? So that kind of makes sense.
Can you back up?
Yes.
What does CRAFT stand for? I see context and tone in there. What's the R and the A and the F?
It's
You can look it up on.
it's
ChatGPT
context,
if you need.
it's context, role, audience. It might be format and tone. So like, what format do I want this in? Do I want it in like do I want this in bullet points? Do I want like there'll be times where I'll say, hey, what's 18,000? I have this number 18,562 out of 522,905.
Give me citations or don't give me citations.
Or just give me the answer. Don't tell me how you get there, right? So that's really what the PD in October was for with teachers. And there was a lot of great feedback from teachers that have actually found really unique ways to start using Notebook LM. I think what Notebook LM does is it frees teachers up, because when you're asking questions in Notebook LM, you're not feeding the model back. Does that make sense? If you're using ChatGPT, every input you put into ChatGPT, it actually feeds the model to train it further, good or bad. With Notebook LM, it is this more closed model where you're not, so there's a bit more like feeling of safety, right? I can ask this question. Doesn't mean I put personally identifiable information in, but I can ask these questions that maybe I wouldn't ask on an open model.
Are teachers finding they're saving time, or like has it been valuable, not valuable? Like,
Yeah, so I mean, I've heard feedback like I've never been this creative in 20 years of teaching. I've heard great feedback. I think it's really teacher dependent. Some teachers find it really helpful for creating lesson plans. Some teachers find their creativity goes through the roof on the ideas that they can come up with for what's a 5-minute engaging classroom activity we can do around this topic. And then it gives you 5 different things you can do. And then you can say, okay, tell me how to do that, right? I also think that it can be, just like with students or myself, it can be highly positive, or it can make you lazy. And I think that people need to be aware of that, and they need to engage with it the right way from the right mindset, students and adults.
Have you tried to break it or misuse it? Because you know that's gonna happen.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for me, that's the scary part about this whole thing, is that, some percentage, it's like with anything in tech, like some percentage of people are going to adopt this right away. Some people are going to adopt it begrudgingly. Some people are going to complain, and some people will just straight out refuse. And like that kind of spectrum is the same even with AI. Like 80% of our kids may use it fantastically. 15% might find the line where the line is at. 5% might scare us. But I would also just submit that like 5% of our web traffic history is scary right now. So whether it's AI or not, like I've heard the comment like cheating will exponentially increase. There's a decent amount of activity we see right now where someone is taking the exact question and putting it into Google. And it's been happening for a while. So, and cheating's been happening for a while. So yes, it might increase, but I don't know that it's going to increase in some amazing way.
Referring to, like, I like the idea of this Notebook LM,
Yeah,
a closed system, but I've also heard of AI being used to break itself or give answers that it shouldn't be able to give by asking it to figure out a way to give that.
The only thing that I've seen, I haven't seen anybody that's successfully broken Notebook LM where they can get into some information that's not already contained as a source. What I have seen is the teacher will accidentally put like a quiz and the answers in there as a source. And so you just got to be mindful that like, if you put the answers to your quiz in there, then, you know, students will see that. So some teachers have come up with amazing ideas. Like, you can use AI all you want, but you have to present to me. You can't, it's not a written assignment. You stand up and you present for 2 minutes on the topic that you've used AI to learn, right? So that's one way that you can explore the use of AI, but you can't solely rely on it as your final product. You have to absorb it somehow and then be able to speak it out in your own words, right? So there's some really creative ideas that are coming.
That's my world at work, you know.
Sure.
Is being able to use AI to do research, to be well versed in something, and then to go in front of a client and speak to it, right? Like that's just in most professional settings, how it's gonna be used. So
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so then November is kind of where we're at now. So our steering committee meets bi-weekly. We're continuing to develop best practices for teachers, student flyers. I think there's really needs to be like a buy-in campaign that occurs within the school. I heard a stat a few weeks back that like 60% of teenagers have had like a intimate conversation with a AI tool. That is concerning to me, and it makes me feel like it's this thing that's done in the dark. And I think if we can be open about AI and the benefits and the downsides, but at least have open conversation, then we kind of we shine light on it and we bring it out of the you know, your bedroom in the middle of the night. If we can have this open conversation in the light about the use of AI, then I think we remove maybe some stigma that might be out there for students. So we're working on how do we kind of do a campaign where we promote the positive use of it for our students. We're drafting formal board level AI policy, which we'll be presenting another draft of that to our policy committee next week. And then staff are trained on and they're actively using Notebook LM and effective prompting. This is happening at the middle school and the high school. We've got some great teachers at the middle school that are doing some really cool things with lesson planning, have shown some really great examples to other staff. Currently, as of November and as of right now, generative AI is still blocked for students. Notebook LM is also blocked for students. That's deliberate. We're trying to set kind of a responsible pace. And now that we have AI policy that's in draft form, we're really wanting that to be in place before we open things up. Okay, December and January, kind of where we're going. So finalize documents and resources to teachers. We want to present draft policy to the policy review committee. If all goes well next week, then we target a January board adoption, but we want to get the policy right. So whether that's January or later. Pending policy adoption, we would open up Notebook LM to students, and we'd open up a couple of large language models. ChatGPT, Gemini would be the two on the list currently. And then once that happens, I would be doing a lot of classroom visits because I want to see how it's being implemented in the classroom. Teachers have a big role in how they're having this conversation with students as well. And then I would be looking at doing check-ins with department heads at the middle school and the high school to get the feedback for each department, because the English department is going to have different feedback than the math department on this. And so really we're looking for like rapid iteration as we get feedback. So I'll be highly invested in doing that once we roll things out. And then really spring of 26 and beyond is continuous monitoring, process improvement. I want to build about a month ago, I purchased ccsd.ai so that we can actually build like an AI website, like a CCSD website that's just focused on AI. So it would have our policy, it would have our guiding principles, it would have resources, it would talk about the different tools that are out there that have been approved by the district and the technology department, and in what use case they might be helpful. Notebook LM is helpful for this thing. This, there's a lesson planning product that teachers would use. And so we'd have these tools listed and how they might be used. Really a resource for teachers, for students, and primarily for parents. It's a difficult topic. I've talked to like really close friends of mine that like refuse to use this. And I get shocked every time I like, there are some people that are just hard no, hard yes. It is not an easy topic to just kind of easily roll out. So we're being cautious and careful, but we do want to be, we want to be a leader, and we want people to look at how we're going about it and lean on our resources that we create and our approach. So any questions that you have as a board for me?
So I just heard you mention about parents. Your explanation helped me out a lot about Notebook LM and the ways it can be used without students going nuts. My gut tells me there's probably students already that are proficient using AI.
100%.
Right. My concern is, like, I am one of those who just refuse to use it, and I hope I die before I ever learn to use it. But I know there's parents out there that having that explanation, how you just explained it, would be really helpful.
Yeah.
Because you meant, I mean, the news is constantly bombards you with the horror stories about AI. And elderly folk like me, I don't know anything about it, but hearing you explain that helps a lot. So, okay, my little granddaughter's going to be okay. Where right now I'm going to be, nah, don't touch that.
Yeah. Yes. No,
So if there's something, a way to get this out, besides implementing it and then saying, oh, it's right here on the website, go look at it.
Yeah.
Some type of explanation.
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing that up, because I do think that it is like this active engagement. I actually met with a principal this morning that there's a real need that parents have, like, what do I do with my kids at home just for like their internet time? And we do things within the district where, we block access to certain sites that elementary kids shouldn't be going to. But what do parents do if they're not, there's no expectation that parents should know all the things that are available to them to be able to shut down internet access at 10 o'clock at night. Don't let the tablet be in the bedroom, right? So we're actually looking at in early 26 having some parent meetings where I can actually meet with parents and say, I have a 7 and 9-year-old kid. They have tablets. They are living in a technology world. Here are the things that I do. Here are the things that I don't do. Here are the games that I will not allow them to play. I don't allow them to get on a microphone and talk with some random person somewhere out in the world, because there's plenty of stories, right? So there's some practical advice that we can give just on internet usage. And I think that there's an opportunity for that same practical advice at the middle school and high school level for parents that might have questions or concerns about, how do I do this? How do I manage this? How do I best set my child up for success? So.
I have 3 things. Okay, first of all, I'm really impressed. I've kind of seen the good, bad, and ugly on the business side of this, and major executives of large corporation regret, all the things that you're talking about. And so I love the thoughtfulness that you put into this, and just holding the tension of both acknowledging this is part of our world, but not just kind of letting the marbles out of the bag to run wild. So a couple of things that just food for thought. I would love to see inputs into this process of how universities are continuing to use and evolve their use of AI, because I think for our college-bound students, the more they're prepared to know, and I know every university has a different thought around this, but the that they even show up as freshmen and they know how to ask the right questions and how to, you know what the expectations are. I think that's a good life skill. And I actually have the dean of the George Fox University said she would talk to you, and I need to follow up. That helps. The other thing that I think would be interesting is for people of different jobs or career, whether it's trades or in the business worlds, come and just think about how they're using AI in their world, and so that people, it becomes real for them. And then I think it would also be for those parent nights, Eric, which I absolutely love. Even having the police come and talk about like trafficking and that kind of stuff, and where they see that being leveraged through the internet and whatnot. I think that would
I think that's great. As far as colleges and universities, I think there's plenty of opportunity because it's constantly evolving.
Yeah.
One thing that Ms. Kropchak sent me an article today. The biggest thing is around like, how do you determine what cheating is nowadays?
Yeah.
If I write something that's my own and then I send it to AI and say, hey, is there any grammatical changes that I should make?
Yeah.
Like students are being like polled on that, and they're like, wait, I didn't know. I think there's just like these very vague guidelines
Yeah.
on what does cheating look like
Yeah.
now.
It's being redefined.
And it will change, I mean, it really will change the way that teachers teach.
Yeah.
It might force a change in the way that teachers teach, which is a very interesting topic to be thinking about too, that we're having to teach subjects differently.
And I think that's where the skill is not to learn, it's to learn how to understand what the rules are, right? Like,
Yes.
and not just, okay, well, this is this finite rule, it's just. And I see this in my role, it's like, it's just changing every flipping day. I've been in IT for 13 years now. I've never seen, to your first slide, like things change so fast, like major billion-dollar corporations, they're ditching portfolios of products and reinvesting. It's just we just have to teach the kids how to learn where the ball is going, not kind of just like go to the ball where the ball is or was. And it's just, it's an entirely different mindset.
Yes, it is.
Pick up on what you were talking a little bit about in the academic context and talking to some of the academic folks. When you talk about becoming a best practice leader and a statewide leader in AI, which I think is a wonderful goal, I'm glad you're going there. To do that, you need to hook up almost immediately with an academic partner, which you're going to have to help identify. Because if we don't have that person at the very beginning, pushing right alongside of us and able to take co-credit with us for developing that, we'll never get it to the larger community. Invite somebody, I don't know, George Fox or Western or Eastern or whoever, to come alongside us and walk that. The bigger name they are, the better. And you will get to your goal of being a policy leader, but if you don't have academic credentials behind you, you will never get there. No matter what good work. We have seen that in this district in the past, good work that never got a light shown on it, because they didn't have the right promoters and backers. I don't want to be there this time.
It's helpful. Thank you.
The other thing I wanted to just comment on your presentation, I appreciate the fact you're bringing the AI policy next week, second draft, the policy committee. We looked at the last policy committee, Kevin and I were there, and Joel, at a number of sample policies. And what I hated about all of them was how negative they were. They were all policies about this terrible thing is coming and we need to construct this enormous set of walls to protect ourselves against everything that could go wrong. And not one person asked the question, what could go right in those policy drafts? And we sent it back for a redo. And I hope, I haven't seen the new draft, but I hope that it's got that spirit to it of, this tremendous opportunity here. And yes, we have to create safeguards because we're about that, but that's not the bulk of the policy. The bulk of the policy is the good things we're going to do and how we're going to enable our kids to be able to be. And the tone then will set the tone for the guidelines that you mentioned and some of the other work. But if we start out in that negative space, we'll end up in a negative space.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to what Kevin was saying though, too, of like really being proactive about educating around the safety guardrails that are there, because if I didn't know about this discussion, that would be like, as a parent, first thing I want to go is like, how is this being ring fenced? And, you know, you are doing great work around ring fencing things, and so I think making sure to be intentional around that.
I wonder, is this, Counselor, maybe you know, is this now being incorporated into like George Fox for students who want to become teachers now?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
Like it's absolutely a
Cool.
part of all their curriculum, and,
Yeah.
and they're winning awards around what they're doing. And I have a couple articles around it, like I think it was Newsweek, was it?
Yeah.
It was Newsweek that
Yeah.
had that article.
The
So,
Foxes, they're kind of out in front to a certain degree.
yeah. And of course, you know, they're really high on ethics too, so that's. So, Deb said she'd meet with you, I just.
That'd be great.
I'm gonna continue that conversation. What kind of positive policy would we, like an example of that? Because to me, like just thinking about this, an AI policy would inherently be slightly negative because we're looking for restrictions on something that's very open-ended. So we're kind of looking for borders rather than
I think
access.
I
Does that make
think,
sense?
I think a good policy around this is like, it's like, think about like bumper bullying, it's like there's guardrails around it, and that's really the beauty of the LLM model, is that, like, for our research, for example, Gartner, like, we have an LLM and it will only pull Gartner research. So when you know that when you type in, you're researching a vendor, you're not pulling from God knows where, somebody implanting into ChatGPT a biased, you know, opinion about a certain vendor. Like, I saw on LinkedIn the other day that Walmart actually like is paying a ton of money into ChatGPT to bias the opinions, so that when you research it, that Walmart will come up as part of it. So there's implicit bias in ChatGPT, but when you ring fence it with the language models, you know you're only going to pull from a certain body of information and not the bias that's being put out there and kind of crazy.
I think to your point, Eric, you know, we have some examples in other areas of where policies can be positive as well as negative. And my best example of that would be in special education, where if you read the original Mainstreaming Act, which was put together by the federal government to say every child deserves a place to learn, and we're not going to have these set them off on the side rooms where we forget about kids. We're going to put kids right alongside their peers, and we're going to teach them where they're at. A tremendously powerful piece of federal legislation that absolutely changed the landscape of public education. You contrast that to the IDEA legislation, which says thou shalt not do this and thou shalt not do that and thou shalt not, you know, negative, negative, negative. I think the tone of those two is a good example of what we're also going to look for here, is looking for more of that. Look what we can achieve for our kids, and look how we're going to protect them and create sideboards along the way so that they can achieve. And it's that last part that tends to get left out because we're so busy with the thou shalt not lists that everybody hates it by the time you're
Yeah.
done.
Well, and that's why the inputs of the end goal, right? We're preparing them to go on to higher learning, we're preparing them to go into a career. So if we have inputs into this process that is cognizant of the end goal that they're gonna go into, then that can help make sure that the policy is gearing towards the growth.
Well, one of the policies we looked at which was put out, surprise, surprise, by the National Education Association. Basically said, this is how we're going to protect everybody's job from ever being replaced by AI. That wasn't inspiring. So.
Well, I think, I mean, I agree with that the policy needs to set the right tone, and that tone doesn't need to be this scary thing, but that like it should have the appropriate guardrails. I also think that there needs to be being able to play with this for 20% for 25% of my time. Like we're talking right now about opening this up for middle school and high school students. And then I'm starting to think like, okay, what's open and available at the elementary level? I've played with some really amazing, like I've purchased applications for my own kids to use at home where there's an active, engaged other end of that. If I do a math problem right, then I'm getting a great job. Let's move you forward. Or if they're reading something and they don't read it right, then the AI will stop them and say, read this word again. And then they read again, read this word again, they read again, and then they move on to more sentences, right? Like if some of our products right now, it's just like, what's 15 plus 12? I either get it right or I get it wrong, and I move on. This is like actively engaged. It will recognize if a student is excelling, and it's like, okay, you understand single digit math, you understand how to carry numbers. Let's sprinkle in some subtraction. Let's sprinkle in multiplication. And so there are some like fascinating adaptive products at the elementary level, which I'm really excited. And I know that iReady and other tools are figuring out how to incorporate AI into this, because if they don't, again, it's this tidal wave. New products are going to come out, and they're going to show much higher achievement among students, because it's like a one-to-one tutor that doesn't get tired, doesn't get frustrated. There's some amazing things out there. And I think talking about the amazing things that are out there, or there's a PhD in any topic that's available to you in an LLM. How cool is that to like profoundly transform your ability to learn something and learn it properly? That's cool. I want to talk more about that and engage with kids that are curious and excited about it and eager to learn, and they've got the time and the energy. Let's have that conversation. There's going to be the bad things. Like that's not going to be fun. I'm not looking forward to that. But I think having more of the positive conversation, K-12 level, I think that would be really good.
Yeah.
So
like Cade spent his Saturday morning taking the economic website, and he created his own curriculum for financial literacy on ChatGPT and had a blast. But I think it gives kids the chance to be like, oh, like I want to wormhole into this good subject, and like, because we talk even about the nonfiction books, it's like, oh, we want kids to align with interest, and even with the reading, it was like, oh, I just want to read something that's interesting to me. And so I think that's where I get really excited about this, is it really allows the kids to like explore their curiosity. And I mean, we had a dissertation about beta fish, like, but I think it's probably going to be a policy that my recommendation would be that we put into it, that we review it often, because I just think the rate of technology will change, that we just need to.
Yep. Agreed.
As far as like iReady and things like that.
Yeah.
I agree, the engagement's great. I've also seen the trend of gamifying things so that kids engage more. Are they already incorporating AI into these things, or is it like an adaptive learning?
I haven't seen that for iReady, but there's a math and a reading product that I've explored and we have at home.
Okay.
It's just that like making those decisions individually versus, there's a lot of ongoing conversation. Does it meet all the standards, and how will it work? Some of them are, how do you have a student that's reading out loud in a classroom of students, right? So that there are some like barriers that actually exist. The math one is, there's a lot of really cool tools out there. It'll be interesting to see. I think first we really want to, like, my priority is primarily the seniors, because they are off to school next year and they need to be able to use some of these tools. They're already using them. That's the reality. They're already using them. We can't even block all AI right now. Like, it's so integrated into Google that you can't even shut it down, even though it's something we pay for, right? So it's already happening. So then how do we time this whole thing right, where it's not too far out in front of us, we don't jump too early, but we come alongside, we open things up. And then I think in the next year or two, there will be an opportunity really to look at the elementary level and what tools are available to them.
The policy will come in January, and we'll have schedule lots of time for questions as well. So lots of good ideas and wanna be the leaders on.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it. 6.3, use of school buses to transport special groups for events. Leland and Lindsay, you're back with us.
Love it.
I got this.
Oh, I'm so glad we got pictures.
That's not an AI generated graph. Believe that's real life.
These are the like one.
Yep.
A Grinch actually got off and stopped traffic to get out of the fairgrounds so that the bus could get out last year.
And was going around and
Yeah.
spreading holiday cheer by startling people.
Yeah.
There was
The
this
la-
one guy was waiting and Grinch was there and tapped on the window and he turned around and screamed apparently.
Last year we started this project. It was really cool. We want to do it again. I'm gonna let Lindsay talk about the details as to what we're asking the board to approve again, so.
Yeah, so last year, I wasn't here, so I hope I have an opportunity this year to be a part of it. But one of our drivers, Vicky Westwood, partnered with Regency and organized this opportunity for the residents to get an opportunity to go around Pineville and look at Christmas lights. And so it was such a success that we'd like to do it again this year. Last year being the first year, they did a big bus, but you know, some residents had difficulties getting on that bus, so they've requested use of two buses that have wheelchair lifts. And so those would be the two type C buses, they're what I called the mid-size buses. And yeah, just an opportunity to take them out and spread some Christmas cheer. So in an effort to help achieve the district goal of building bridges, we're asking permission to use the buses for that at no cost to them.
Is it just one night
Yes,
and two buses?
yes. So two buses and two drivers to drive the bus.
And is the date set?
Yeah, it was December 20th is what they requested.
So I'm 100% in favor of this. But how in the world does EEB allow this? Because paragraph 2 clearly says you can't use it incidentally.
Paragraph 2.
I don't have the policy in front of me, but I thought there was something in there that said that we had to go to the board for approval if we
Well, it does.
wanted to do
but
it.
then it says the district may authorize public ridership on school buses only when the public passenger intends to use the bus service on an everyday basis. District buses are not available as public transportation on an incidental or on-call basis. Is this not an incidental use of the bus?
It would be incidental.
This policy is antithetical to,
Yeah.
and it's a bad policy, it needs to be rewritten, in my opinion. I do not want to stop this. But the policy is a big problem relative to what you're asking us, as I read it.
How quickly can we change it if the next
I'm
policy
wondering.
meeting?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. We have a policy committee on November 15th, but we don't vote on policy.
Why don't we just suspend it right now?
We could vote to do that.
We just suspend the policy and then vote to authorize the accepted use.
I know some senior citizens that would really.
And then
appreciate
we'll
that.
rewrite the policy at the next
December 15th and bring it
December
back on
15th
day.
meeting. So, Madam Chairman, I move to suspend policy EEB through the remainder of 2025. And to authorize the use of a district school bus by Regency Assisted Living.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to suspend policy EEB through the rest of 2025 in order to authorize the school bus to be used for our special group event, and we have a second. We have further discussion.
I just want to know what that clause was intended to prevent, I guess, whenever they do the policy discussion.
Oh, yeah.
That would be something I'd like clarified.
But we did it last year, was the policy in
I think we've
place
done it
last
multiple, not just
We've done that.
Yeah.
Few
I feel like
times.
this was not before the board.
Yeah,
We've done some other things too that
Yeah.
could be considered incidental, but we charge for those.
yep, so we'll dig into, if we can find the history of it, but it'd be really cool to be able to allow this opportunity for these seniors.
Agreed.
It looks like it was adopted in 94. And it was readopted as part of the general readoption of all policies.
Could have been the general
It's
OSBA.
never had a look, see. And there was a period in this district's history when the district was trying really hard to hoard all of its assets and keep the public away from its facilities and its buses and everything else. And I expect this policy comes out of that period.
Okay, do we have any further discussion? Are we ready to vote? Okay, Kelsey? Yes. Scott?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yeah.
Eric?
Yes.
And yes as well. Thank you.
All right,
Can
thank you
guys
so much.
take pictures?
Yes.
Bree has to go on the bus.
Yeah.
Thank you very
much.
Do the bridge.
No, I don't want to do it, but that's terrible.
Okay, sorry, I digress. 6.4, personal finance report.
Hello, everyone.
You.
Those of you who don't know, I'm Kim Krofcheck. I teach business and personal finance at the high school. Eric's bringing me, so I don't have to stretch my neck that way. So in knowing that the board has a vision, and we'll go through a quick history of the personal finance. So your board goal, 1.3, prepare students for financial independence by providing real world money management skills for personal finance education. So before I go into this, a little off script of here, we have always offered some type of personal finance, clear back to when the state required it, back in the 80s when some of us were students. And ironically, my father-in-law was my personal finance teacher. And then in the 2008, 9, et cetera, it came back as highly recommended. And then my husband actually taught it, who taught PE forever. And so he taught my children personal finance, and now it's my turn. So, but I was on a bunch of committees with our Oregon Business Educators Association, and Oregon was one of the states that didn't actually require it. As of this year's juniors graduating in next year, Senate Bill 3 required that all high school students take 0.5 credit of personal finance, 0.5 credit of careers education. So a thank you to our board, we've always had it as part of our curriculum somewhere along the way. It did used to come within social studies. So sometimes their bucket got filled with a couple of AP Gov classes where not all students ended up with it, although we tried to manage that we could encourage most of them to take it, is now a requirement. And as of this year, they've talked to every senior who's still filled their bucket and tried to get them into personal finance. We are articulating with personal finance with COCC as a BA 218 for 4 credits. And then currently we use the curriculum, the Next Gen Personal Finance. As we were talking about all these things, it's a very robust curriculum where there are hundreds and hundreds of options for students. And we pare it down to what we think helps, but it is very hands-on. Some of you have been in our room when we were working on car loans. So just going across here, credit and debit, learning how to use credit cards, credit banking, investing. We do have guest speakers come in from finance to agencies and from credit unions, banks, talk to them about the spending and the budgeting, banking. The one thing that's not on here that I saw, it also covers college and career readiness. So we do a section on paying for college, and FAFSA and what to do with student loans and what not to do with student loans, budgeting, spending and money management, personal income taxes and services, maintaining financial well-being. And again, there are arcade games that they've actually turned into. We have like a loan chart game. This week they'll do a budgeting. Their final project this week is a budget, taking everything they've done, finding a house, finding a car, and putting the numbers that they are doing a career study, finding all that, putting it into their budget to see what happens on the other end. Are we a deficit or are we a plus? And so I just think at the state level, we are way, again, I'm just gonna say, we're way ahead of the game. I actually am on a committee and we did a little study of what other districts are doing. I don't know yet. We are having so-and-so teach it. We don't have it. And they're trying to put it into a non-academic class. That's not one of the options. You cannot do it like in your homeroom. It has to be a curriculum. It has to be graded and it has to be separate from the careers. So, so with that said, I think again, almost every senior is taking it right now and well, within this year, and definitely next year. Yep, and then Pioneer is using the Dave Ramsey Foundation. We actually use part of their workbook and some of theirs within our curriculum as well. And so they are piloting it. And I didn't talk to Michelle much about it when, except in the beginning, we looked at what the difference would be between ours and theirs, but we have used it, some of the parts of it in the past. It's very similar. This one just happens to be much more individual and hands-on. So it's a little less, it's a little more like almost like online or has a curriculum that allows a little more individual student planning and timing rather than ours that's follows our curriculum. I will have to say that we really, it has been a highlight of a lot of our Oregon Business Educators Association that the few schools that require it have been I've been given presentations and we teach and those kinds of things, but I, again, appreciate that. And I sometimes run into students, Miss Krofchak, guess what? I got a car loan last week. You don't have to tell me about that in the grocery store, but you know, they're so excited and they'll say, I have students say all the time, these are a class that I really need. Or I see somebody say, I wish we would have had that in the blah, blah, blah years. I don't know. I wasn't here and I wasn't teaching for a gap in my career. So I'm like, I didn't know we didn't teach it between the time we had it in there. So they do see the value and they know it's personal to them and they realize the importance as adults of being financially literate. And so that's what we have. Couple of things, we had Future Business Leaders of America here years ago. We're looking at reinstituting that. I just met with the coordinator of the Southern and Central Oregon businesses. The students actually came to our Oregon Business Educators conference and they will meet with our students in the spring because that's the class that I can articulate it out of. And then also I teach an investing in finance class in the spring, and we will look at starting a finance and investing club, and some of the credit unions and and some of the support groups that we have as our vendors at our annual meeting have a lot of resources. And as Ms. Swick was referring to, looking at some ways that students can do it individually, they can build things online, they can compete in a stock market game. We do it as a class, but they could do it as a club in addition to the class. So those are two of the steps of trying to reinvent those clubs at the Kirk County High School. And questions for me? Thank you.
I have several. Thank you.
Surprise spot for me.
So I actually sit on the state treasurer's financial education
Oh,
advisory team. And we were big backers of Senate Bill 3.
Yes.
And have been watching the implementation. And I would agree with you that the uptake from public schools has been falling. The number of waivers that were filed was impressive.
Oh.
And we can't figure out how to do this drumbeat is kind of fascinating. A whole lot of crying about why does it have to be a standalone class? So yay, Kirk County, yay,
Yes.
Kim, we're leading us in a better direction. One of the things that has come up in that's notable about the Dave Ramsey curriculum is that it is noticeably deficient in dealing with digital banking and the apps and the wallets issue, which you've got identified as our curriculum for CCHS. So we'll want to pick that.
So, well, next gen personal finance is ours, and actually we go through the whole process. I was just waiting for one of you to ask me if I teach them how to reconcile a bank statement, and I said, you have to have a register, first of all, to reconcile it to. I told Dr. Hopp, someone's gonna ask, but they actually do teach them about all the apps of the safeguarding and the banking security. So the next gen addresses all that. I will be straight up, I don't know enough about the Dave Ramsey, because what we use it for is at Crook County is the budgeting. Pioneer uses it, is piloting it, so
I
hopefully
just
there'll be
wanna
more.
Be sure, if
Yeah.
you're gonna pilot that, if
Yeah.
you're gonna bring it forward with a recommendation.
right.
you Put a supplemental in
Yeah.
there.
And next,
The digital side.
next gen has all of that, and that curriculum is free, so, and I would be happy to, I mean, we've shared it with them before, but I will be happy to follow up on that, because it got away from everything, and it has all of the new, did a whole new upgrade this year. Amazing of the things that, and it has professional development for teachers that we can get certified in as a next gen educator, and so we take an hour class every unit if we want to enhance our learning and enhance our teaching, and that was one of the new ones that we just took not too long ago.
There's a tremendous opportunity here
Yeah.
for the district to show leadership and be
Right.
that statewide leader, because everybody else can't seem to figure this out.
Right.
So since Kim said, all you have to do is have her go give a seminar,
Right.
this is how you do what the rest of you
Right.
have had 3 years to figure out how to do.
And I will have to say that, and this is a sad story, but the biggest advocate was at South Albany High School, Joy Running, and she is actually a fellow was a fellow. She was just switched from South Albany to teach at Oregon State, got ill, found out that she had a glioblastoma and was gone within 2 weeks. And she was the biggest advocate for the state of Oregon, for all of the Oregon business educators and personal finance. So we have some people, there's a couple community college professors who are trying to step up and trying to then go back to the state and the treasury and the legislature and take her place. But she was a huge advocate for all of us. So that's the piece that's missing right now in terms of those other people's support statewide, because she was our president and some other things, and she, like I said, was a fellow in the next gen, and she was nationally recognized at the National Business Educators last year for all of her work with the legislature at the federal level too. So that piece is available. We just have to find the right person to take her place, because that just happened in September. Yeah, no, it was a shock, yeah. And she would have been at some of the things that would have presented to the Treasury Department. And with the Federal Reserve, she worked with a lot of people that brought a lot to Oregon and to our students. But I agree, finding the people, like, and so you know who's using I do it. I mean, I can't teach all of them because I have business classes, but the math department is the other part of that articulates as well with COCC. So they are the other part that are teaching in our district. The personal finance, so that everybody's covered. So.
Before the Kim is done.
Start either side of this.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Question.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Question. I'm ready.
I get the last word with Ms. Crawford.
Okay.
That's my deal.
Who else? Next question.
Are you done?
Yeah,
Okay. Well,
Kevin's gonna be next.
So, I just, like, this makes my heart so happy. I
Hear
love everything about this, and two things for you. I'm curious, like, when you go through this curriculum, like, where is the most interest, number one, and then where do you see the biggest gaps of, like, you're like, oh my goodness, like, this is a key life skill that, will.
So they take a pre-test.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And we take a pre-test, and I say, oh, it is a job guarantee for me, because they do very poorly on it. And by the end of the trimester, we'll find out. On Thursday, they'll take their post-test that's similar, but the taxes, we just finished a tax unit. Their tax scores were incredibly high. They go from identifying all the forms to actually doing, filling out a 1040, multiple 1040s with different scenarios. So I would say that the taxes, and the process of filing taxes, or whether they even need to file taxes, who needs to file taxes, is one. And it's, and then investing. I think that's just not I mean, people know about credit, or, oh, my parents could say, I can't have a credit card, can't do this. So there's lots of things about credit and student loans and that whole process. But I think investing and taxes are the two where it's very deficient, and not everybody has those conversations at home.
Well, I'm like 100 out of 10 excited about the investing
Right.
class
Mhm.
and then the competition, and I have a few friends / colleagues who are really pretty amazing business people who want to help.
Oh, well, yes, yeah.
And, one of them's a woman, so
Yes. So this will be our third year of our investing class. It's econ and investing it's a new class we brought in a few years ago. And so I would love to have community members and support. We do bring some of the financial analysts and some people, but the more the merrier. The more that they can see that what the value is in the community and their support, it would be great. Yeah, because those are the two.
Yeah, can you please just let us know what you need or want, because I'll go find it for you.
Yes, I will. Yes, I can do that. And I will meet with, so again, I teach two sections this trimester, one next trimester, and then I don't teach it in the spring. So I'll get with the math department and see what all we need and how we can do that, just so we can handle it.
There's
And
a
get
lot of business professionals who,
right.
Yes, made their way and are
Yes.
looking to give back, and
Yes.
I have.
And to have to have student mentors with them as well in our business department, aside from just this. It's, we've done that before too, and I think that's where we would like to see it grow as well, but getting some more mentors and internships for students in lots of different places. Yes.
Kelsey, I don't know all of your connections, but I would like to see something like using real world money as a class and doing investing. And then have them.
January thing.
Well, no, I meant like as their.
We do. I mean, we do have it's an investment and econ class that.
But if you had a partner that had.
Oh, right. Yes.
But
Oh, real money. Yes, I see what you're saying.
Provide incentives for the students, maybe like small stipend.
That is
I don't know.
a personal dream of mine, is to get together a fund that can be part of the investing club, that could be a scholarship fund,
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
but I'm not there yet.
No, and there are some parameters about that because we talked to we talk about that at our business educators of where that can go, because they've talked about that before, like where can those funds be used and how can they go back to individual students? And you're on the right track, because there's only either reinvesting it into their club or, like you said, a scholarship piece. So agreed. Yeah, there are some definite parameters.
Research.
Yes, yeah.
Or Ms. Krawcheck is done. You may or may not know, Ms. Krawcheck is retiring.
No, I'm in
this year.
denial. No.
So I just want to recognize her.
Thank
real
you.
Briefly, starting 13 years ago at the high school. Kim does amazing with the personal finance, but also is just a pillar of that high school. And every side job that exists, she does, and she does absolutely amazing. We're gonna miss her dearly.
Thank you.
And as her and I were working through this presentation, she has laid the foundation for someone to step into her role and just knock it out of the park. So we are so grateful for Kim and for so many years, and we're gonna cherish the time we have, and we'll miss her dearly in the months to come. So
Thank you.
Fully retiring or just partial retiring?
Fully retired. I said I will be a sub, I promise, and I've done.
A full-time stuff?
No, that would defeat the purpose of being retired. Because I have some goals I want to do and some things I want to do. But yes, I will be around to sub, and I said I'll be your best sub ever. I can cover lots of grades and lots of curriculum and lots of content areas. Got you covered.
Trevor, let's give her a round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
I'm making statewide training on personal finance.
Thank you.
Thank you. 6.5, the Pellview Community Charter Potential Reintegration Update. Christina.
We have an update in the form of an action presented to the board. We mentioned in a previous meeting that the charter contract between Pellview and the district and state law require that the expiring contract, if there's an expiring contract, if the charter has to request renewal 180 days in advance, which would be December 31st, but it's allowable for both parties to agree on a different time frame. So the Pellview Community Charter School Board has requested a 30-day extension to that 180-day timeframe. We have talked, and we believe that this extension would still give us time to integrate the Pellview school into the district, should they choose not to renew the charter. And so we just want to reiterate again that we stand ready to support the continuation of the charter or the reintegration of the school, and we're presenting to the board the request for a 30-day extension to make that decision.
And if they still do not have a decision, at what point are we incapable of incorporating? Have we told them that?
No, we have not.
Okay.
Do you think you're ending with them?
Quick update, and Mary, correct me wrong, I believe they are voting this Thursday. They needed the extension to get additional surveys from their staff and community and families, and I believe they plan to make a vote on Thursday, so we'll know.
Is the board voting? Is that?
Yep, this will be the Crick County the Hallview Community Charter School Board will be voting on their decision. I get that.
I'm not sure the integration question is even relevant because by default, if they don't vote to extend, you will integrate them. It would just be convenient to do it early.
Yes, and this action is really about giving them more time to make that decision.
Madam Chair, I move to approve a 30-day extension to the requirement for a charter contract renewal for Bellevue Community Charter School.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the 30-day extension to the requirement for the charter contract renewal for Bellevue Community Charter School. Do we have further discussion? Okay, let's vote. Eric?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Kelsey?
Yes.
And yes as well. Thank you. Okay, 7.1 Superintendent Selection Process Update, Bree and Joe. I'm sitting here.
Good evening. So tonight we wanted to provide a update on this process. It's very similar to what you all chose to move forward with last time, but we can dig into some of the details of the survey and the listening sessions tonight. One of the aha moments that I had recently that I wanted to share with you all was in talking with some of our families about like, oh, the board's gone this direction with the superintendent appointment and this process. People went, wait a minute, I thought Joel was our permanent superintendent. And I said, no, that hasn't yet happened yet. So while I think this is all very present in our minds, it's just so important to all of us. I think that we make this process extremely transparent and we update our families and our staff every step of the way to ensure that you don't have to listen into a board meeting to know what's going on with this process. So that's the first goal, is that after tonight's meeting, we'll get together a message to send out to families and staff about the next steps, about when the listening sessions will be, when they can expect to receive the survey, and that we're in this process to remind people of where we're at. So Joe's going to talk a bit about the survey.
Yeah, so after Bree sends out the initial communication, we plan to send out the survey in January. On the first Monday, we come back from winter break, which is January 5th, and then it'll run for 3 weeks, from January 5th to January 23rd. Once that closes on the 23rd, then Bree and I will collect the data and organize it and make a presentation to you guys in February. I believe you guys have the questions in front of you. This is kind of a final draft, so we'd like for you guys to look at it. And if you'd like any edits, additions, or deletions, then kind of funnel those through Miss Knight, and we can make changes if necessary. But obviously we want to have it done sooner than later so we can get it out on January 5th. As it stands now, there's 6 questions. First one just kind of identifies the role. Second one is a satisfaction matrix with different areas. Third is the scale, just kind of ranking how comfortable. And then 4 is pretty direct about yes or no and support. And then 5 and 6 provide an optional opportunity to give open feedback. So that's the plan for the survey.
How is this going to be rolled out? By email or?
By email, and there's like other Parent Square.
Yeah, Parent Square for sure will be the primary method. In order to engage community stakeholders and families, we do plan to use Facebook to do a press release on it, to try to get additional people. We also talked about the importance of, stating something in the roundup, perhaps with a link to the website, have it posted on the front page of the website. So it's really accessible to all of our audiences. We don't want anyone to be missed in this process.
Yeah.
You have a Spanish language version?
Absolutely, we will. Mhm.
Okay, and the next part in February, Bree's gonna talk about the listening sessions we have planned.
The other point with the survey, we will send this out with SurveyMonkey to hopefully enhance the, people knowing that this is anonymous. It's not going to be through Google Forms, it'll be SurveyMonkey. Yeah. So for listening sessions, we will take that feedback from the survey and then guide our questions around that more quantitative data to share questions with these groups. So we've identified a few different groups to interview. These sessions we would hope would be about 45 minutes long with some really targeted questions to generate discussion with these different groups. So the first one would be administrators. Next would be students. The certified union, they have a group that convenes with Joe that we would tack onto their meeting with a listening session for them. Staff, that would be open to all types of staff. Classified union, same thing, tacking onto one of their meetings. And then parents and community families, getting feedback from all those different groups. So those are tentative dates that are listed there. We are open to any other dates perhaps. It was kind of just organized to be 2 per week for about 3 weeks. So that way we can cram that collection into February and report out in March. The one thing that I wanted to bring to this meeting is that I think there's 2 routes we can go with the listening sessions. And the first would be for a board member to be present at those meetings. And I think that's a great opportunity for you all to hear firsthand our staff, our families, our students' feedback. The one caveat to that is that it would have to be a public meeting. So I think on one hand, it's really awesome because it's super transparent. Anyone can tune in and hear what people are saying. The drawback perhaps is that sometimes people get nervous or maybe aren't as open to sharing things when they know that they're on camera. So that's just something to consider.
They don't have to be on camera. You only have to be on camera if you are accepting public comments, right?
We are working with Melinda on that.
I think they have to be on camera for.
Okay.
I'm gonna verify, obviously.
No, I'd love to verify that. Yeah.
We can check with Melinda,
Mhm.
and I'm not involved in the process at all.
We can check with Melinda for sure.
It would probably also depend on how many board members were there.
Yep. And then the other route would be for Joe and I to conduct those sessions and then report back to you all. That's entirely up to you all, what you want to do in that regard. And then I just want to be mindful of those dates and selecting them carefully, selecting times. The student one, I planned out around lunchtime, but we could do that anytime in the school day. So yeah, thoughts on the listening sessions?
I have just the one suggestion that you have one additional one. You've had such wonderful luck this year with your Latino family meetings.
Mhm.
Do a Spanish language session. So you can collect that feedback.
I love that. Thank you.
I can go to that one if you guys decide you want board members in.
Okay.
And I do think we need board members at all of these. The whole point of this exercise is for the board to hear that the community is satisfied with the superintendent so that we do not need to do a competitive search. How are we gonna hear that if we're not there? So, to me, we should each take 1 or 2 sessions and say, I will be there. Make sure you don't miss that one. The rest of them are open to the rest of the board if you choose to drop in. How I would suggest we move forward. And they need
So
to be
there's
public
7.
meetings to allow for that kid when forum shows up.
So we have 7 listening sessions.
I could do the student one. I'd like to hear what they have to say.
Friday is the only day I can absolutely commit to. What is that? That's the student one as well.
Mhm.
Which is fine. I mean, you can have.
Yeah, I can do that too.
Okay.
I'm looking at other days.
I don't think we have to know right now either.
Yeah.
Is that do you just want them to email
Yeah.
one of us?
Yeah, we could go that route.
Okay.
Mhm.
Just pick a date or 2 and then let's just send an email to either Joe or Bree or both.
Mhm.
And then that way they can get everything plugged in.
Yeah. Besides the Spanish one, he's studying.
Okay.
The Spanish one, they have a monthly meeting too. I'm gonna be checking in. I know.
Yeah,
Mhm.
my own existing one. That'd be
Yeah.
great.
Yep.
Okay.
We can go ahead and just send an email for you all to sign up. So those are all
Perfect.
at the top of your
That would be
inbox.
Great. Thank you so
Mhm.
much. Yep.
And if any of them are seeming like they don't work out at all, just let us know and we can move that. We do want to provide some of those dates in that initial email that we send out to families and staff, so they can plan in advance to be present at them if they wish to do so.
Do you have anything else?
Good plans. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. Yes, absolutely.
Thank you all for your feedback.
Okay, policy, what we all live and strive for. Dr. Hoff?
Yes.
Would you like to get started?
The board asked that we go and get some feedback from students on the cell phone policy. So I believe it was 2 weeks ago, we was able to talk to the leadership class. What students like about the policy, the caveat that we're putting in, if there's ever an emergency, you can get your phones out. That was something that was a real win for the students. They also like the flexibility in our language. We have that they can be stored in their backpacks or in those classroom container kind of sleeves. So they like the flexibility of that. Students, and they also like that they could, there's a caveat in the policy that students can use phones during non-school hours, the after-school activity. There was a question that how does this policy change our current practice? K-8 doesn't really change anything at all. At the high school level, we're dictating where they can be stored. There's questions around, if a student is taking their cell phone from the container and putting it in their backpack as they walk down the hall, that's not something we're gonna police heavily. At lunchtime, we'll be encouraging students not to have their phones, but again, we don't want to have this be overly punitive and distract and take away from relationships that are the core piece. So those are kind of the main changes. This is my favorite part. Like I said, you ask students their opinion and they tell you. So what were their questions and concerns? Just questions over, how big is this going to be enforced if a kid is checking a message real quick during a passing period? We'll work with Mr. Huffman to make sure there's a good balance of we're not being overbearing on this, but we're also saying, hey, I want you to focus on school when you're in school. My favorite comment, whether teachers are required to follow this policy. That's very crafty of a team, right? And I think that is important. So that's something that we'll work with our principals, that they'll be communicating with their staff of, hey, this is something that we're modeling for everyone. So I think that actually is very valid feedback. And then the one other concern was that poor Wi-Fi sometimes at the school often forces students to use hotspots on their cell phones. And that's intermittent, not all the time. There is some language from our previous cell phone policy that if we tweaked a little bit, when necessary, exceptions may be authorized in advance by the principal or designee for specific, rigorous, and intentional academic purposes. We could add that into our draft under the exceptions part. So then principals would have the autonomy of if the Wi-Fi goes out, of course we want students to do that. So we can add that as an exception, and that would be taking our students' feedback and actually doing something with it. That is the feedback from the students.
Were they stressed about it?
No, I'd actually invite Ms. Van Rokel up, as she was this happened the same day as a preparer visiting, so she took this.
The students weren't. They were, when I asked them like, oh, so how do you see this different from our current policy and practice? They're like, well, it's really pretty much the same. And I was like, yeah, because I think that this was something we implemented 2 years ago, I want to say, was this pretty strict cell phone policy at the high school. And they're like, yeah, that's what we're already doing, So that felt good to hear them say that. And they were really excited I was like, oh man, how our kids are going to take being presented with a board policy, and they were super into it. So it was a really fun exercise to do with the students, and they really valued you all asking for their feedback. So thank you for getting the ball rolling on that.
I think there's two valuable questions in there worth exploring. The first one is that issue of hallway and passing time. And, there's no way around the fact that statute says it's a bell-to-bell ban. So it's 8 in the morning until 3:30 in the afternoon. And I think we absolutely intend to have a bell-to-bell ban, which we intend to enforce during instructional time. There will be strong enforcement during instructional time.
Yeah.
All stop. And then teachers should also be subject to this policy during instructional time. There's no excuse for being on your phone while your kids are working.
Yeah. I will say the one thing I really remember when we implemented the cell phone rule at the high school, was it was like, huh, kids aren't on their phone in the hallway anymore. Like we noticed that as administrators circling the hallways during passing periods, that didn't have an impact. In fact, they were at lunchtime. They were not on their phones. They were more used to this face-to-face interaction, I think, all of a sudden, that they really, it just didn't feel like it was a big issue.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Nice to hear.
Yeah. I don't like that if you're in the hallways in the passing period at the high school, you don't see kids just automatically walking down the hallway like this. That's not our reality at Kirk County High School.
I also agree with him that in practice, this isn't gonna really change very much. I hope it doesn't.
Yeah. Yep. And the emergency thing, that was the first thing kids went to was, we want to know that in the event of emergency, we can be contacting our parents. And we said, absolutely. That is at the very heart of this policy. So
It doesn't even technically say emergency as designated by the teacher. Who judges an emergency? Doesn't really say, nor do I want it.
I'll leave that up to you, Scott.
So we have the option to, we'd be deleting 8.2, we'd be deleting that current AR and adopting 8.1.
Were you going to add in?
Yeah, you'd want to adopt it with that line, under the
exception
exceptions. Yep.
So you want a motion to adopt policy JFCEB, adding an exception for teacher directed use of cell phones per previous policy, and deleting policy JFCEB AR. That what you want? That's what I want.
What is best for our students?
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion to delete JFCEB AR. And we have a motion to also on JFCEB add an exception to the teacher direction order, adding that in, and we have a second. Do we have further discussion? Okay, let's vote. Eric,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
and yes as well. Thank you for everybody that worked on that.
Yeah. I
And
felt like
revamped
the
it.
process around that, I really appreciate it. And I
Yeah.
hope that the end result is that it causes the least amount of disruption. So kudos to everybody for superintendent.
And I would request that we bring this policy back to this table in summer for a second look, once we haven't actually used it, to see if it needs more refinement. Yep. Before we go into next school year. Which
To give us
the
time.
handbooks has to be done in July, that means we have to hear about it in June.
Okay. Okay, that's me. Upcoming dates, we have Building Bridges Committee meeting December 11th at 4 o'clock at the district office. No school grading day, December 12th. Policy Review Committee meeting is December 15th, 5:30 at the district office. Long Range Facilities Planning Committee is December 18th at 4 o'clock at the CCMS Library, make note. No school winter break, December 22nd through January 2nd. School board meeting is January 12th at the district at 6:30 at the district office. And then no school on Martin Luther King Jr. Day, which is January 19th. Moving to public comments. If you wish to make a public comment, please complete a comment card prior to the start of public comments. If you're viewing online, please indicate that you would like to speak in the comment section. When you're recognized, please state your name and any group you're representing. Keep your comments to no more than 4 minutes. A bell will chime with 30 seconds or when 30 seconds are remaining, and another bell will chime when the 4 minutes have ended. Group of visitors with a common purpose should designate a spokesperson for the group. If you wish to request that the board consider an agenda item, please contact the superintendent at least 1 week prior to the next board meeting. Per policy BDDH, the board will not hear comments regarding any individual district staff member. If you have a complaint about a specific staff member, please contact the superintendent or the board chair. At this time, Eric, do we have anybody online? And Miss Tammy, do we have any comment cards? No. Okay, we are going to adjourn this meeting at 8:38. Thank you.
You didn't do it bad.
I would have lost.
I will, yeah. I said I should.